Today we're back inside of Infinity Kingdom, and I'm here today with Boss Nasty, and we're talking about the end goal for a kingdom. What are we really trying to do when you're building up a kingdom, and why is it important to work together with your kingdom, especially now that we have server versus server that's announced? Boss Nasty, how you doing, man? Welcome to the channel.
Echo, hey man, thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure.
No, man, it's a pleasure having you. I love picking your brain, learning from you. And in a conversation that you were having with the Alliance and with the Kingdom the other day, I really thought that the things that you were saying in there, the importance of the Kingdom, was something that I wanted to share with everyone on the channel. And I figured rather than me do it myself, I'd have you come in, being that they were your words. So before I get into that though, I want to remind everyone to sub the channel if you like Infinity Kingdom and want to see more content on it, but also check out Boss Nasty's YouTube channel. I'll be linking it in the description of this video, where he covers Infinity Kingdom as well, breaking things down maybe even more in depth than I do on my channel. So go check the men out. But Boss Nasty, I mean, we have our alliance here, and a lot of these games, people, they start playing and they want to be in the strongest alliance and they want to dominate everyone. But in your opinion, that is not the proper way to be playing this game. And instead of that, we should be playing in unity with one another, so that when it comes time for this state versus state, server versus server, kingdom versus kingdom, we're on the same page. We're allies and we can go dominate against other kingdoms. So let's talk a little bit about your whole vision for an alliance and for a kingdom, and why you think that's better than just everyone going free for all.
Yeah, sure. No, I think that's a good sum up. I guess I'll kind of start with some broad points, which is that, one, with the way that IK is currently set up, and this is somewhat the same and then somewhat different from how other games are established, is that in other kingdoms, like a good example is if you look at Rise of Kingdoms, the way that they have their starting maps is that it's zoned off. So you have like you have like a layer 1, a layer 2, a layer 3 as you kind of work from out to in. And with that, you also have provinces. So there's a lot of isolation essentially that happens when you're starting out in a kingdom like that. Now in something like SOS, from what I've heard, and maybe you can clarify on this more, I know when I've asked my buddy Shadow, I don't believe there's any zones in SOS when you start out in a kingdom, kind of like IK, like the entire map is open. Is that accurate?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so let's just use those two games as an example when we're comparing. So for Rock, because you're isolated when you start out in a kingdom, you cannot go and attack other provinces or other zones until your kingdom develops to a certain point. And then you have to attack things like a gate in order to then get access to other zones, and then eventually down the road access to other districts that are adjacent or next to your district. In something like SOS, similar to Infinity Kingdom, because the map is open, you can go anywhere you want from the beginning, right? You can go from one corner of the map to the other corner of the map by using a territorial teleport and be there in half a second, or you can take 5 hours, give or take, right, to slow relocate to the opposite side of the map. Now, because of that, with how IK has been, I would say the meta for how the kingdom development stages are happening is that it really lends itself to, because I can go anywhere, we can attack anyone, we can go after more or less any cities that we want in the beginning, and we're pretty much free to roam the map how we please. We can attack anyone from the beginning, and it doesn't matter who they are, what level, right? If we're able to beat them, right, we can go and attack anyone. So you add those two big elements onto the fact of what you said as well, Echo, is that players want to be, players are looking to be at the top of the boards. Everyone wants to progress their account and be active. Alliances want to be the top alliances per their faction. And then in addition to that, the top alliances globally. It kind of creates this kind of survival of the fittest atmosphere within a kingdom when alliances are just coming in individually by themselves and there is no structure initially.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And the way that you were talking about it was, you were kind of building more, it makes sense. When you're, especially people that are new to a game like this or a genre like this, you want to be the strongest. You don't want to be bullied around. You don't want to be picked on. You don't want to wake up and go to a burning city. Now, inside of this game, it's very different when you go to a burning city than when you do inside of something like Rock. But also, it's part of being inside of a civil kingdom as well, which is what we're kind of living here in server 8 as well. So it's just played in a different way. And maybe did I even answer what you were asking me to answer right there?
Yeah, no, you're fine. I mean, really, if anything, I was just trying to provide a little bit of pretext to, how the kingdoms come in, right? Like essentially what the current state meta is right now for servers in IK. But to also answer your question more specifically, right, for the way that we're building, which as you pointed out, right, server versus server, given that it's been announced, I mean, I can't tell you how much my super happy, spidey, tingling sensations are going off all the time just because of the fact that this was announced as early as it was.
Yeah.
Right. I know we've had conversations with my friends Shadow and Gibbles, who are some of my top guys in Shadow Syndicate and for S8. And we were always under the impression that they probably wouldn't have been announcing server versus server this early, right? Which can only mean that the game must be performing well. Wink, wink, whether that's in monetary value and return that they're getting, or if it's just or I would imagine in addition to overall player base as well, with volume and influx of new players coming into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with that, the challenge is that, like, right now, essentially what's happening is, right, servers get to a certain point, and most likely there's usually two big hurdles that happen for every server. One, it's usually when you get to around the level 4 and level 5 cities and level 5 capitals, and then it's also after the first kill event, which is Contention of Lords. Those are kind of the two big breaking points for new servers, because if there is no stability, and almost every server right now, with the exception of S8Rs, and I want to say one other, every other server has been free-for-all. Right. And you can only imagine what that does to a new player, or for someone that is really trying just to develop their account. It's really kind of a turnoff, especially if they're coming around and you have players that are just going around and hitting everyone and anyone as many times as they want, right, given their AP limitations that they may have stocked. And that will cause players to essentially jump, or not to, I shouldn't say to jump, but to either migrate out or to just give up on that account, right, and make a new account and just wait for the new server to come out. So I think the hope is for us, by mitigating that and coming in as structured as we did, right, because we came in with 6 alliances to server 8, and we had 2 alliances per faction was our plan. And it wasn't with the intent of wanting to say, hey, we want this is ours, right, we'll tell you what you can have, guy. It was more of, we came in with wanting just to have a deterrent against any other alliances that just wanted to do whatever they wanted, right? We wanted to at least have a big presence, or enough of a presence, to where we could, I guess essentially, for lack of better words, right, call some shots, but in a way that helped and benefited everyone. Like the way our kingdom is set up, or our server set up, right, is we have it where the top 16 alliances all get up to 5 cities each, with the top alliances down getting 1 of each resource, so we can spread the love, more alliances can benefit from it, and they also feel like they're getting something. And that's mainly because there's 80 cities total, so we just divide that by 5, right, you get your 16. In addition, we have controlled PvP events. So we allow for anyone to fight, but we just do it in the center of the map where the Forbidden Zone is. So if players want to do any PvP, our Forbidden Zone is ran 24/7 PvP. And then we're actually going to be updating our new Contention of Lords kill event rules, which was an idea that some members from the community had voiced. And we heard what they wanted. And so we're going to do interval timings next. Is probably going to be the next thing we try, because the thing is it's like supply and demand, right? If you have too much supply and not enough demand, then not enough people are going to be there. So the idea is that during Contention of Lords, or the kill event, we'll have our setup where we do it where like every 8 hours will be like the reset time. So basically, because kill event runs 2 days, so we'll do it at like 0 UTC, 8 UTC, 16, and then 0 again. And those will be the times that people can basically reset themselves to get ready to go back at it again. So we'll have kind of higher intensity and higher activity at those times, instead of just saying it's just 24/7 for kill event like it is, even when it's not kill event. But we have been seeing a lot of increased value. But I hope I'm not getting too far off topic now, based on the question.
No, you're not at all. And it's good, because at the end of the day, what you want to do is have a solid alliance, and you want to have a solid kingdom where everyone's not jumping ship. And you didn't even mention this before, but we talked about, you log into the game and you're burning, and it feels bad, and you've put all this work in to just lose so much of your stuff. you said people are going to go to other kingdoms, people, you know, join different alliances and whatnot, but you didn't even talk about people that just are going to quit the game, right? Because especially people that are new to kingdom builders, which is going to be a lot of people playing Infinity Kingdom, everyone hasn't played Rock or State of Survival, so they're going to get that burning. They're going to lose a lot of their stuff, and they're going to feel attacked. They'll be like, I'm not playing this game. You know, it feels bad. And they're going to completely just be dead accounts on the server, and that's another way that a server is going to kind of flop on you. So you're directly talking about what we wanted here to talk about here today, which was how to make a stable server that's going to be one that lasts forever. Because who wants to start a brand new account? Who wants to spend on your main account and then realize, I'm somewhere I don't want to be. I want to be here. I don't want to wait 90 days, so I'm going to start a new account. You know, no one really wants to do that. It feels bad to take all of your hard work and all of your money that you've invested and have to just start fresh somewhere. I mean, I know I personally don't want to have to do that, so I like your plan, man, because I'm going to be able to keep all my hard work right here.
No, you know, that is, I think that's another good summary. I mean, I've even had a few people that have reached out to me so far just about, like, I've even had a full alliance from a newer server reach out to me of around 50 or 60 players they have, right, of you know, a hyperactive core players saying, you know, hey, look, this server seems like it might be done. Can we come and migrate to SA? You know, we like what you guys are doing there. I said, look, that sounds fantastic. I'm always happy to bring people over, but you got to wait 90 days until the new server hits that point. And there's been a couple other kind of sprinkles of individual players that have asked about it as well. And I think as the game goes on and as time goes on, I think players are going to start realizing that it is important more than ever to really work together. I mean, like I said before, even though we came in with 6 alliances, right, we had a goal in mind of setting up like an SA council server, right? We have 60 plus players that are just officers and leaders from our top 30 alliances that are in that server, and it is really active. I mean, we have almost probably the top 20 alliances are extremely active in conversating and talking about topics and sharing information and posting screenshots if players get attacked, just so they can give friendly reminders to their players who did the attacks, so we can all continue being on the same page. And I'm extremely surprised, even over my expectations, on how well things are going.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And it really seems like the kingdom is working well together. Your plan is coming together. And, you know, as I said, when it's time for kingdom versus kingdom and server versus server, I mean, we're already going to be unified. And, you know, I think it'll be really cool if other servers that we're developing as well came in with the same vision as you. Like, I want this game to thrive. I want Infinity Kingdom to have new servers being created with people like you taking your idea, your blueprint, and implementing it in other servers, so that when it's server versus server time, we can go against other servers and other kingdoms that are, you know, unified the way that we are. And it's gonna be for a great end game portion, because really that's what it comes to. But also, when we think about Rock, how long did it take before we had a kingdom versus kingdom in Rise of Kingdoms? Like, we're a month into Infinity Kingdom, and they're already talking about that, which is really exciting, that they're already at that point, that they're stable enough to say, or maybe they have enough of the development there to say that this is going to be coming to the game. So let's get excited for it, you know?
Oh, no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, I think the fact that they're mentioning it this early is awesome to hear. And I know we don't really have a lot of other details outside of just the very brief appetizer worth of a teaser that they gave us. But it is exciting to hear that it is happening, or at least being in development and starting to think about it this early. And I can't even just describe how exciting it is to hear something like that.
Well, I hope it's coming soon. I mean, obviously these things take time to develop, and you don't want to have this many people engaged in this massive event for it to flop. You know, you want it to be done well. Like I say, with any game, development time is important. We could wait, but it's nice to know it's in the cards and that's coming, and that the vision for Kingdom 8 is going to grow. But you mentioned 90 days. Now, 90 days is not a rule set by you. This is an ability set within the game itself, correct?
It is, yes. That's what the developers have decided for how old any server needs to be before you can migrate to it.
And the reason for this being, you don't get these large players that have built up massive amounts of power to come to new servers and be able to just push people around. Plus, those initial events that only spawn in the beginning, they would be able to double dip in those if they were to go in before 90 days, correct?
So for some of them, I mean, I covered this a little bit in my jumping video, but there's really, from what we've tested so far, there's really only 2 events. It is the 7-day sign-in event, and then it is the, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting right now, and it's totally on the top of my head, but it's the 7-day sign-in event, and there's another event that you can double up on. It's not the Helen event, because that's the 7-day like tiered reward one. Gosh, if I remember it before we end, I'll make sure I remember. But there's really only 2 events that you can. So again, it can help, right? If you're planning to kind of do something like that, like somewhat of a jump that we talked about, kind of explaining what the pros and cons are. But it's not like a lot.
Okay. So it's really about someone powerful coming in and taking over a brand new server. That's the main purpose of it. But
yeah, more so. And the other thing as well is that, like, that's something you just brought up, is something we've been hearing, is doing like mass server raids, right? So this is something we've been recently hearing. And this is kind of like rumblings of people talking about from like core groups that are still active in older servers, like servers 1 through 6 or 1 through 5, 1 through 4, that have talked about once some of the newer servers hit 90 days, they'll be like, they're just farming space teleports right now, and they'll just go in and just cause havoc. Like that is some of what we've been hearing. Now, we don't know if it's really going to happen, or if anyone's going to do it, or if it's going to be in any decent amount of size, but that's something that we've heard about could happen as well. And that could kind of give you a small taste of like some pre-PvP work for your server. But we'll see.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, well, that's pretty cool. And with that being said, people could still, that are starting new accounts. I mean, there's a lot of people, especially from my channel. You have a pretty intense Infinity Kingdom audience on your channel, because that's what you have. But I have multiple games we cover here, so a lot of people are maybe being exposed to the game first. So if you want to start playing this game and you want to play in our server and be part of what we're doing here, make sure when you start your game that you choose the server that you're playing in, because right now you could still choose to be in server 8. I don't know if that's going to be a thing forever. It may not be. So make sure that you choose server 8, grind yourself up to our requirements, and you can be part of the family as long as you're a active, solid enough player. So any last things that we missed, anything that we didn't touch on, or any important things that you feel about starting a kingdom, being a leader, that kind of stuff?
To keep this one short, I would just say that I think it's extremely important to have some form of structure, some form of unity when you are starting out in a server, and there has to either be someone or a group of people that are willing to put that work in, because it does take work when you think about having to message all of the leaders for the top alliances, right, regardless of faction, trying to get people on the same page for how you want to build a server, right? Having people come together, voicing their opinions, doing things like votes, and then putting those things into effect, having those alliances then having to send out consistent alliance mails, posting, consistent periodic messages in world chat and your kingdom chat, so everyone can be on the same page, right? Messaging individuals that, maybe break rules, or just sending friendly reminders so you can work. I mean, it takes a lot, and that's really just some of it. But I do think that will help a lot of new servers get to a point where they can stabilize and really focus on development, because that's what a lot of people want to do. I mean, if you think about just some of the early goals when you're starting out, people want to hit level 40, right? You want to hit level 40 city, you want to hit level 40 buildings, you want to get max tech. Like, these are actual personal goals that players have outside of being able to participate in events, right? It's kind of like the World of Warcraft idea that people talk about, where it's like you have to get max level right before like the real game starts.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of the example I use a lot in when it comes to these kinds of kingdom builders. So I just think it's really important for those things, and I'll kind of leave it there.
All right, well, I appreciate it, and I have no problem with you going on and on, because you have good information. But I think we covered the main topic here today. I plan on having you back on the channel again for more insight on another topic. But thanks for hanging out today, man. Where can people find you on your channel if they want to hear more?
Yeah, no, thanks, Echo, man. Always a pleasure. I'm always happy to come on. If people want to come check me out, you guys are more than welcome to take a look at my YouTube, which is just The Boss Nasty. If you'd like, you guys can also join our Discord server. In addition, you guys can add me if you'd like, and I can always send an invite. It's just Boss Nasty, my username, one word, 8056. If you'd like to add me on Discord, or again, you guys can always join our servers. We always post a lot of good information. We do these things like server town halls that Echo was mentioning in the beginning. We typically typically do those every Tuesday. And we might actually be doing something on the official IK server, but that'll be some news for later. But yeah, that's where you guys can check me out.
That's exciting. And all that information is actually on the screen right there within the description of the Alliance. And I'll also be pinning it as either a comment or in the description below. Make sure you check out Boss Nasty. But thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure. And thank you guys for watching until the end of the video. Always good information here. Have a great day. Check out some of my other Infinity Kingdom stuff before you go. And be good.